transiting from a dramatist who used his play productions for social change, an administrator of the arts, as general manager of the National Theatre. What are the takeaways for Femi Osofisan? How is life affecting the arts and its prosperity? Episode. Professor Femi Osofisan spoke about those he collaborated with in bringing his works to life. Today, we are going to continue with the professor of theater, and we are asking him what his thoughts are on the training of professionals, especially on the important area of the use of the local language in communicating in the theater. That is, how do you communicate with the theater audience and the larger Nigerian audience using the local language in productions?
And there was Dexter, with his job at stake, because, I mean, he came to me and said, look, let's just postpone this thing. For some time, and then you work more on it and all. Because, it was all, I was working with people who are into traditional
theater styles.
Yes, styles and everything, And I was doing experimental thing, dance and so on. They were not used to it. I didn't know how to handle it. But I thought about it. I said, well, if we postpone this thing, we'll never do it again. So I told Dexter, don't worry. We will try, don't worry, And I summoned all the cast and told them, well, this is the situation. I'm depending on you, you can do it for me, In fact, while there was a scene that wasn't working, and I wanted to put it in Yoruba and see whether if we sang, maybe it would be better. Anyway, we spent 7 hours translating that in his office.
Into Yoruba?
Yes, trying to. I came back to the theater, gave it to Jimmy to play out on the piano and everything. We got the tune, So,
Wow.
I mean, it was really interesting. So that, just by experimenting like that. But when I left the cast, I think around midnight, said, please let's meet at 8 o'clock, because it would be a disgrace to all of us. Some of us had not learned their lines and, so I went home very, very, very happy. Wondering how we could. Then I came by 8 o'clock and I found that the cast had been there since 5.
Whoa! They
had been working.
They left at 12 and came back at 5?
Or even earlier.
Commitment.
I was so knocked out by that kind of commitment, but no. So, and then, but unfortunately, while he felt I had to take up the role of Moko myself. So, and so many things, they became part of my theatrical style, because the person to design the not bothered because he felt that this thing won't work. So I decided to improvise. So we just put a frame and say this door and we improvise many things. And that production that day was such a massive hit. Dexter Royce was carrying me up, how tall he was, my head almost.
Wow.
He was so happy. And we decided therefore that we keep the style that we were using. So many things, and it became very.
That was the style I met you using when I got into UR. I remember that was the play also, that was the university play for that year. because that was when I watched it.
Okay. In fact, it became so useful that nobody had constructed any set engine, because to travel with it became easy.
Yes.
You could now improvise, and so that was something. In fact, next time I was amazed that the song and the thing mixed, but it was the cast. They had stayed all night working. But it was the cast. They had stayed all night working. Well, so
that's very impressive.
And then, but I wasn't still satisfied with that. I was still thinking there must be a way. It's too technical and experimental. So there must be another way of doing it, And I've told this story in this essay, but one day I had to travel from Djibouti to Abeokuta. I don't know what happened now, but I finally found myself traveling the old buses. Those was through the old routes rather than the new thing. And I was in this bus. I mean, those buses, rickety, they were mainly carrying food items. They would stop at markets on the way, and so that's where we were. I mean, I was crammed up. Somebody had dumped my knee. So, but what happened was that somebody then just got up before we went back and began to singing and selling these itinerant sellers, tradesmen.
Wow.
It began with to rely. The whole bus picked it up. And rain started, the book was leaking, it was right on my head. But with all this, everybody in the bus was to rely. I began to sell his name. I mean, I was really amazed. Finally, nobody even noticed the rain and everything. And everybody was buying. I mean, you know how they sell these things that we kill everything.
Yes.
They kill everything. Even myself, I even bought.
No.
I mean, honestly, I thought this was real drama at its best.
Natural setting.
So give me an idea that, in fact, this is what I should try. If you see, once upon 4 of us, you see that.
They are far.
Because you get a song that the community already knows. So they can join you. This was really fabulous. So I decided to use that technique in Once Upon 4 of us.
That's right.
But again, I haven't done that. I don't like repeating myself. Trying to find new methods.
New methods, new styles.
Right. And again. So, all my plays have been like that, mainly just a search for a new form, apart from the message.
Right.
That has to be relevant, current, dealing with contemporary issues and so on. I've been lucky with the actors I had, very talented actors who are ready to experiment, to do things, So that's how the story started.
Now, at the time you were starting out, Wole Soyinka was already dominant in terms of Nigerian theatre. Did you have any anxiety that his style may cramp your own style?
No, I didn't. But I mean, of course, as it went on, then I discovered that other people had. They felt that they wouldn't want to offend him, and so when you needed something, they would stay back, and So that was that. But he himself tried to encourage me. He invited those people to do Moro to do. And actually we were quite close, at that point, and we slept in the same room, on the same bed.
Yeah.
But we then held a conference, a radical Perspectives Conference, in Ibadan. And I was it 70, 74 or what, I can't remember now. And that was where we really, unfortunately, parted. Because, he said no, we were just idealistic, trying to use theater for politics. No, that, theater and literature should not be for any...
Theater for theater's sake.
Yes, but your writing doesn't say that. Anyway, it became a big argument, and unfortunately that separated us from there, that was so I had to continue.
Going forward, the experience is that society, a lot of the time, and perhaps our politicians mislead us, don't appear not to pay attention to drama, theater, or anything like that. But as we saw even from the life of Shoyinka, the life of Ogunde, they paid attention. They didn't want Yoruba Ronu.
Yeah, really.
And where I'm going is, for you, I didn't know that you would be permitted to go and be GM of the national troop. Because of your radical...
In fact, there are many paradoxes in this profession. I had many points, at different points. I've been surprised by the reception from the official quarters. And then just when you thought something else would then come again, and when you know that the chapter and the song was done by Kwara State to receive Obasanjo.
Yeah.
And I was surprised, First of all, I didn't think they wouldn't understand it. I directed it myself. I didn't know that people would respond to it so much. And then making sure that's the one they would do for Obasanjo.
The head of state.
And that's what, and again, when I wrote, many examples, anyway, when I wrote Jumbariba, the dance contest, this was the play again chosen by Mamsa to go around it. And I was surprised. What is happening? Is that they don't understand or what? But, sometimes when you think that the play is too critical, and you don't find maybe the governor will be request for it. Why? Sometimes you don't know what is happening. How come is it that they don't really understand it or what? But it's fun that they actually respond to certain aspects of it.
In a way, perhaps the artist, the writer, is his own, perhaps, force that compels him to self-censorship rather than officialdom at times. Just like you were saying, those were places that you won't think would be what officials will promote to make their own point or promote what they want to say to the society.
Put it down in writing. Yes, because I said we have problems, then we can show something. But also, some of the actors, there are some lines which actors will say they are not going to say. Because they are afraid. And you have to take this into consideration. Because after all, they have families, they have careers, So sometimes the actors say, no, we can't say these lines. They are too scared,
You had such experience too?
Oh yeah, many times, not just once.
Oh.
The actors will tell you, sir, we cannot. Say, okay, take the lines off and continue. Or you write the lines such a way that at least without French and
okay.
Don't forget that this was military
regime.
They were not kind at all. So I mean, again and again, you have to care for the actors,
Yes.
care for. So, yeah, we had such moments.
In terms of the development of Nigerian theatre from that time, do you think theatre is where you think it should be? Because in that time there was a lot that one could feel coming out of the theatre, coming out every time, plays, dances, all sorts of things, television. Now most stations don't even produce television drama anymore.
And they paid for those in those days.
They pay. Now nobody wants to pay. Do you think?
Now you have to pay if you want to.
Yes, you want to put your product on TV.
Well, it's a combination of many things. Our society has changed a lot. In those days, in fact, I keep saying the concept of the compound, the family compound, Agbole,
Yes.
Was very, very strong. So we operated within communities. So one day was doing a play, for example, his wife would come in, this one would come in, and people will sit down and watch, and theater would have immediate response. I mean, the audience will be responding.
Yes.
And, so
Yes.
it's real communal experience.
Yes.
It was communal experience. Nowadays, you see what society has done. We've lost that communal experience. We do a play now, people, well, some people still try to respond, but you find others tell them to shut up.
Shut up.
But it's a different thing when you do a play within that kind of community, where there's immediate response.
Yes.
And you know what you are saying, they know what you are saying. Now, than this kind of Western type societies we develop now, where individuals go down with each individual is on his own. And, so we don't have that kind of communal response anymore. Then, of course, the issue of wages.
That's right.
When they could pay his wife and they do, nobody will be asking for wages. You take people out to act. You have to book hotels for them.
Yes.
But you go sweep the stage and put their mats there and spend the night there. You can't do that anymore.
No.
So the society has changed. And so the old responses have been lost. Then there's far more variety of entertainment now than we had in those days.
Yes.
Where, the best was moonlight, where children would gather, one would tell the stories of torches and now you have television, you have media, you have social media, you have all kinds of things, And unfortunately, what they've done is increase the separation between, communities,
Yes.
here and there, individuals and so on. In some families now, people go ahead in, the child is doing smartphone, the other one is doing this, the father is watching television.
In fact, the family is overwhelmed by the number of types of media available to distract.
You can even call it a family anymore. There's no family anymore. I mean, just individuals brought together by some faith, So all that has affected the response of, because the society became more cruel. I mean, lack of employment, a lot of urbanization, people moving out of rural areas, big cities, crime. So you can't go and watch a play now and say you come back by midnight. Your life is no longer safe. Not only that, even apart from that, if you are working in a place like Lagos, when do you finish? That you come and then have time to go to the theater. It's impossible. Some people wake at 4 a.m., rush to their, and by the time they are getting back again to their houses, midnight, before then 4 a.m. again. There's no time to go and be watching plays or anything. So the celluloid, that's what really came out. The video thing became an alternative. Alternative, cheaper alternative than going to the theater and watching anything. So gradually developed and into a big business, So, that's why I think we all those old theaters we used died. Became churches or whatever, So because nobody can go and watch plays anymore.
Yeah.
But each time we do a play, what I've noticed is that the people who watch it they experience a very valuable time. They feel happy. So there's still a strong demand for theater. It's just where to do it, when to do it, and how to do it. That's the problem.
And we need to work that out.
Yeah, well, I keep telling my students that what we need is probably another Ogunde, a genius like Ogunde, because we just assume Ogunde theater was very successful, but he created it out of nothing.
Yes.
There was nothing like that when he started.
Yes.
Started and got a big industry going on traveling theaters.
Yes.
Maybe we find somebody in our times who will also be able to
recreate that.
Yes, create something.
I want us to quickly look at, before we end, highlights of your, let me call it, career of acting, directing, playwriting. Which ones would you? We've spoken extensively about The Restless Run of Lucas. We've talked about Once Upon Four of Us and Chattering and the Sun, and how you kept on trying to evolve. But at what point and which drama, who have been the actors and actresses and directors that have been notable, memorable in kind of performances that you've got from them, that have justified your expectation of the kind of drama that you want to see?
Difficult to pinpoint people and say individuals, and because fantastic actors.
So, who are the favorite actors who collaborated with Femi Osofisan in achieving his goals as a theater writer, director, and so on? Join us in the next episode of the Nigerian Theatre Witnesses to History, where the celebrated theatre professor shall unveil his thoughts on this.